Thank you very much for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. Now, I want to get into something that there's a lot of chatter about is another storm, something forming in the Western Caribbean. So I want to break that down in this video and show you what I'm seeing down the road. And while there's a little bit of hype with that, it's still the hurricane season. So keeping it in perspective, there's going to be a couple more named storms out there. No doubt about that. It's a wait and see, though, on where it will go. So we'll cover this. But first, we were thinking of all of those that were so impacted across a lot of Florida by Milton. Our thoughts are with you, and they will be for quite some time, like what we saw with Beryl, Helene, several other storms that have hit land. We are all thinking of you, and I do want to continue with that and get a look at Bermuda down the road, watching the Bahamas, and we're going to cover that. This is what the chatter is about, though. You could see here the initial chatter about an area that may develop here. Now, most of the models are not developing it. What's happening is the American model, which is a good model, about 8, 9, 10 days from now is spitting out either a tropical storm or a hurricane. So, of course, that is spreading on social media. Now, that is a possibility. As I mentioned, it's the hurricane season. Of course, something can form, but I want to try to lower some anxiety. It is a wait and see at this point. The European model, Canadian, and Icon don't have anything developing in this area. But let's swing back to Milton and really begin with that, because we were thinking of our friends in Florida as this area has moved off as expected. Thank you for your trust across the Bahamas. This was not going to be a Dorian. It was not going to sit on top of us. Yes, some gustier winds, but overall, again, most of the action to the north of the Bahamas. And it doesn't even look like a hurricane at this point. As expected, it is weakening and it is turning into more of a non-tropical system. It's getting caught into a front, and thank you for your trust as well in Bermuda. While we're going to see some rain out of this and some gusty winds, not nearly in the form that it was, and you can see it all pulling to the north of the Bahamas. We in the northern Bahamas are still dealing with some warnings, tropical storm warnings. The watches and warnings throughout parts of the South Carolina, Georgia, and as we work our way back through Florida, will be expiring. Of course, the very high and dangerous seas, and you can see the wind field exactly what we are talking about over the last week or so, kind of unfortunately, because of the so high impacts over towards Sarasota, Siesta Key, Anna Maria Island, back near the Tampa Bay area. St. Petersburg got hit so very hard. What happened was it was such a powerful compact system that skirted by the Yucatan of Mexico. Generally heaviest weather, though, north of Merida and, of course, north of Cancun. But in this shading here, this orange shading, those are the tropical storm force winds. The red shading are the hurricane force winds. And as this system weakened and lifted up to the north, it expanded that wind field, and that brought a very substantial surge along parts of the west coast of Florida. So big wind maker, no doubt, with this. But here's Bermuda as it will continue to trek its way over here. It looks a little ominous for Bermuda, but the kind of center, if you will stay to the south, and it's not going to be tropical in nature very shortly. It's really not tropical in nature at this point. Just a general big wind maker, and you see all of the modeling just continuing to weaken this area as we go over the next few days. So I want to pass along some positive news out of that Milton is weakening. Now let's swing to that. You could keep an eye on that up here. Now here's what's going on with this next area. This time of year, there's a lot of fronts like what is bringing Milton, the remnants of that, over toward Bermuda. Now, if something develops here in the Western Caribbean, which is a possibility, sometimes these fronts could grab it and lift it up to the north, or sometimes the fronts move by and allow an area to swing back to the west. And I bring that up because even if something were to develop, it's a huge wait and see where something may go. I've been seeing a lot that, hey, something's going to run right up to Florida again. A giant wait and see, and you can see it here. This is the American model, and it does develop the area. This is the one model that is developing, and now we'll see if other models want to eventually develop this area. So just taking you out in time here, you can see the rain building by the middle of the week. And I do believe the rain is going to build during the middle of the week, and I do believe this is an area to watch based on what I'm seeing in the environment. Anytime you get a lot of rain building, you watch it. Now, the American model, though, has a front passing by across the Bahamas and Cuba. And then as that front moves by, it doesn't grab this area. So the front moves by, then this area kind of does lift up toward a bit toward the north and the northwest. And then by the upcoming weekend, or rather actually not this upcoming weekend, the weekend after that, October 19th, it does show a broad spin here, which is most likely trying to develop into a tropical storm as we get our way into the end of the following week and next weekend, okay? So a couple of the models are latching out of something, but as I mentioned, it's the hurricane season still. We're approaching mid-October. October, especially the middle of October, can be very active. There's going to be some spots we really need to watch over the next month to month and a half. So let's wait and see on this. Here's the American model, and you can see how it does spin something up. And here's this area here, which is Milton, and what is left of Milton, a big wind maker, but no hurricane winds in this. A broad wind maker headed toward Bermuda, gustier winds, of course, seeing the rain working into Bermuda for tomorrow. So that kind of covers that. And then going out in time here, I just want to show you the swirl that it is trying to develop. So we'll get into next week. This is going through next week, just ticking that clock ahead. And then by the end of next week, you start to see that swirl here. So my friends in Belize, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Honduras. I'm watching this over toward the Yucatan as we get toward Cozumel, Cancun, Merida, and over toward Cuba. If something does spin up, I will let you know well in advance. It's just an area to watch, and even if something develops, and it's way too early to tell where something may go. Now, why do we still get stuff this time of year? I mentioned it's still the hurricane season, right? Water temperatures are so very warm, and this time of year, stuff develops closer to home. We're not really looking as much off the coast of Africa. The fronts passing by across the U.S., the fall fronts, the autumn fronts, they sometimes leave moisture. So you could get a spin up in the Gulf of Mexico or spin up in the Caribbean. So this time of year, I start to look closer to home for development and not off the coast of Africa. That's how the hurricane season generally works. In the beginning of the season, we also look close to home for development. And then as we get deeper into the season, we look close to home and off the coast of Africa with those big tropical waves. But the end of the season, we are back to where we started. We are looking at these kind of fronts leaving areas of moisture with the warm water temperatures, and we'll see how it goes. Of course, the very dangerous seas across parts of the Bahamas, southeast coast of the U.S., of course, across Florida. We'll see how it did on the east coast as far as the erosion goes and any damage as what is left of Milton just kind of falls apart and works its way over toward Bermuda, but those elevated seas. And then as we go throughout the week, we're going to see things a little bit choppier. This here is by Sunday as we work our way into the middle of the Caribbean. By the time we get into the weekend, the middle of the central portions of the Caribbean, we'll see a bit of a chop. Sorry, I may be seeing a lot of ums, a bit tired from the last couple of days. All right, so let's go forward. Again, Leslie is still out there, but that is going to curl away, no factor. Milton itself, of course, our thoughts are with those in Florida with the impacts from Milton. The next name on the list, and eventually somewhere there's going to be Nadine forming, maybe in the Western Caribbean, maybe somewhere else out there. So Nadine, that is the next name on the list. Watching some areas of rain, and it is a very active area here with rain and storms, and this has been a hot spot this hurricane season. That's why I mentioned, yeah, something could develop here, but at the least, I do expect a lot of rain to form. Short term, watching my friends, let's get over towards St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua, Barbuda, Trinidad and Tobago, ABC Islands. Rain chance is not super high the next 2 days, maybe 30-40% as a whole. You can see some spotty showers, but it is higher in parts of Central America. This is tomorrow. Hit or miss shower storm, Anguilla, St. Martin, but again, the rain chance is not very high over towards St. Croix, but you can see this is that spot that, again, moisture is going to build. So for us in Jamaica, as we work our way into Sunday and even early next week, Cayman Islands, we're going to start to see that better chance of some rain up through Cuba. So the rain chance is no doubt going to increase next week for some of us, and then we'll see if something does develop. As far as the amounts of rain, not a lot. As I mentioned, Freeport over toward New Providence, the heaviest weather with Milton stayed to the north, and that's why those rain totals, not a lot, and that was expected. Hit or miss shower storm could give us, some of us, the next few days, 50 millimeters or 2 inches of rain if you happen to get some repeat storms. But you see across Haiti, the Dominican Republic, U.S., British Virgin Islands, Montserrat, the rain chance is very low over the next few days. A little bit more down through Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent the Grenadines, Grenada, May catch a shower or two. Barbados, St. Lucia, 1 or 2 back through Martinique and Dominica. In northern sections of Suriname, Guyana, and extreme northeastern sections of Venezuela, a bit of rain, but this is where it's going to be heavier. Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, even San Andres. We may see Providencia. We may see some higher totals in here. We should see some higher totals in here, in which would lead to some flooding. But anywhere from Guatemala back through Mexico City, it's been a lot drier. A drier pattern has been taking hold. So hit or miss. Jamaica, 40 to 50% chance, 20 to 30% chance as we work our way back through the Cayman Islands, 40 to 50% chance. There are those scattered showers and storms that are possible. Passing shower the next couple of days in Barbados. Rain chance about 30% across St. Lucia today and tomorrow. Today and Friday. And Grenada, rain chance 30 to 40%. We do that again as we work our way into St. Vincent the Grenadines. Hit or miss. Rain chance only 30% in Martinique. Isolated shower possible and very low today in Dominica. Does pick up a little bit tomorrow. May catch a shower or two. 40% chance. But you see the rain chance is not super high. Guadeloupe, and you see how it's even lower as we work our way into Antigua and Barbuda. Next 2 days, rain chance 20%, and even lower than that, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, and then working our way back toward Anguilla and St. Bart's, 10 to about a 20% chance. We do that again. St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, rain chance 20 to 30% in Puerto Rico. Couple isolated showers and storms. Generally dry the next couple of days. U.S. and British Virgin Islands, Bahamas, Milton, stay to the north. Watching those higher seas, and we could still get some coastal flooding in our northern islands. Turks and Caicos, rain chance about 30%, 20% chance across the Dominican Republic. Rain chance is not high. A 10 to 20% chance back through Haiti. Rain chance the next 2 days in Belize, and I'll monitor for us in Belize what may try to spin up once we get into next week in the Western Caribbean. Aruba, Curacao, and Bonaire, that rain chance does stay on the smaller side. And as I mentioned, Guyana and Suriname, the better chance of rain is closer to the water. So that's where we'll see the better chance of rain inland. Central and southern zones generally dry. Hit or miss showers and storms across Cuba. Rain chance 60 to 70% chance Costa Rica and Panama. And that rain chance will be building the next few days in Nicaragua. And it will also be building in Honduras. And I'm watching what may try to spin up in the Western Caribbean. Guatemala and El Salvador. Watching out for a few showers and storms, so not a high chance, and mainly dry across Mexico City. 20% chance across the Yucatan the next couple of days. 40 to 50% chance in northern Colombia. 30 to 40% chance as we get back through northern Venezuela. And of course, tomorrow, what's left, kind of the remnants of Milton, will be nearby Bermuda. Most could be just to the south. We'll see how it kind of shakes out. Higher seas, gusty winds, nothing can't handle across Bermuda. So Milton becoming non-tropical, thankfully, as that moves away. I'm watching the Caribbean for development. Rain is going to be building really over the next 5 to 10 days. So it's at this point just a spot to watch. There's going to be additional spots to watch as we continue through the hurricane season. October as a whole averages 4 named storms. It can be a very active month, and yeah, it's been super active, as we know, to start the month all too well. So we're thinking of those dealing with Milton. All of our thoughts are with you for sure. We'll be going through the comments as we go throughout the day. Have a good rest of your day.